Hi, this is Linda Logal-Hemby, born Linda Jean Gay. So today I want to read you from my memoir, and it's called If You Don't Like Worms, Keep Your Mouth Shut. And that is my sister and me on the front cover. Chapter 1, Born to Be Me, a Twig on the Family Tree. On September 6, 1620, 102 passengers climbed aboard the Mayflower and headed west to a new land. Among those brave and hardy passengers was church elder William Brewster with his wife Mary and their two sons. The seed the Brewsters planted in the New World became part of the trunk of our sturdy family tree. Also on board the Mayflower was Edward Winslow, whose relative became the other half of our particular tree trunk. Over the years, certain branches from our family tree distinguished themselves in one way or another. One branch bore Henry Adams, the great-great-grandfather of the second president of the United States. There was an English vicar, a couple of town proprietors, an organ maker, and a knight. And then there was Rebecca Shelley, one of the more questionable branches. In 1692, Rebecca died in Cambridge prison, having been accused of witchcraft. I've always had a soft spot for good old Rebecca. In 1888, Grace Maud Bohannon was delivered into the world in Washington, Vermont, to become a new branch on the family tree, a direct descendant of William and Mary Brewster. Of course, she didn't know it then, but Grace would one day become my grandmother. Grace married George Woodley, and together they produced a daughter named Ivis. Ivis grew up and married Bob Gay, a descendant of the Winslow branch. And before you knew it, two new twigs, Donna and Linda, sprouted on the family tree. Donna Lee Gay was born in Windsor, Vermont, the same year as the Great Hurricane of '38. 600 lives were lost and millions of dollars in damage was done by this Class 3 hurricane called the Long Island Express. I guess you could say my sister Donnie blew into town. 2 years later, in November 1940, yours truly, Linda Jean Gay, was born in Windsor. I entered the world backwards as a breech baby, and I've been backwards ever since. While other people come down with a cold, I would tell my mom that I was coming up with a cold. I have an uncanny knack for tying twist ties backwards, and when I make a bow from a ribbon or shoelace, it usually ends up vertical instead of horizontal. Although I was born in peaceful Windsor, Vermont, it wasn't so peaceful elsewhere. World War II was raging in Europe, and London was being bombed daily. And that is the start of my memoir, and I would like to hear from anybody else who was born in that era, in the 1940s and 1950s, and where you were born and what it was like. So if you would just comment, I would appreciate it. Have a good day.